Hello, it's Christine here for another episode of our Stitch Along, and today we're going to be stitching the Antwerp Edge stitch, but I'm not going to be doing it on an edge of fabric like I did with my Armenian edge stitch that we did in the previous video. Instead, I'm just going to be doing it along a line of the fabric above and below where I worked in backstitch to create my stitched name for Antwerp Edge or Antwerp edging stitch. So it's also known as knotted blanket stitch and knotted buttonhole stitch. And it was suggested by Michelle and Kimberley, my lovely subscribers and commenters. So we're going to give it a go. I've definitely done blanket stitch, buttonhole stitch, but I've not done the knotted variety before. So I hope you're all having a great day. I'm just going to straighten it up. I think the hoop's going to help for this one because you want to sort of keep the the sort of the tension in the fabric. So I'm going to, maybe I'll actually do it just up on these lines, I think. So I'll do it on the sort of the upper section of this lined section. So I'm going to pop out of, I'm just going to shorten my thread a bit as well. Pull it down, and then I'm going to go up sort of at right angle, so it forms a little right angle, and pop down into the fabric, and then don't want it to pull that far. Before I've pulled it through, I'm then going to go down to make that right angle shape, so making a sort of a corner as it were. And then at this point I'm going to take my needle underneath the stitch and then take it through a loop formed by the thread, and I'm going to hold on to the thread until it's pulled up to make a little knot. And then we're going to do the same again, so we're going to jump forward a little bit. We're not going to pull all the way through. We're then going to bring our needle out below at the same level where we were on that thicker line down there. And again, if you don't have lined fabric that you're working with, you can just draw some lines with a friction marker or other fabric marker just to help you see where you need to take your thread. So we're going to put our needle down through it, and then we're going to take our needle through the loop formed by our thread. And we're going to hold on, and we're going to form our little loop and our knot. So then we're going to go forward an equal distance, form a loop, pop up again at that right angle position, should be about there. And then we're going to take our needle down and through the loop formed by our thread. So basically down through that loop and then putting our thread to that side and taking it through to form a knot. And then we're going to go again, equal distance along. Oops, we're not going to catch ourselves hopefully on the loop like I did. And then we're going to pop ourselves, I'm just seeing where my line in the fabric is, about there, I think. Too many lines for me. Okay. And so we're again going to slip under that stitch, and then we're going to stitch, slip under the thread and make a knot. I've pulled my fabric a bit. I think it might be a bit smidge tight in the hoop if you're getting a little pull like that in the fabric, but that should be okay. Then it is quite a fine cotton that I'm using here, so that could be the problem as well. Making our blanket stitch, and then we're going to go underneath that stitch and through the loop formed by our thread. Keep working our way along. Again, making our right angle. And then taking our needle down and out through the loop by our thread. And I think you're meant to hold the thread a little bit more so it doesn't get too loose, but we'll keep going. Oops, and caught again. Got my tail caught in there, and that's okay. Just give it a little tighten. Okay, and then we're going to pop up at the right angle point. Oops. Then we're going to go down and through. Oops. Sorry, I just went off screen there. I was just trying to make sure I stayed holding on to the thread. And so again, we're just going to make our blanket stitch. And then we're going to pop down and through. And we're just going to hold onto our thread, which will just make sure we get, that nice tight positioning. Then jumping forward a bit again. Feel like my thread is getting twisted, so we might do our little untwisting manoeuvre in a moment. Do it now before I do the next stitch. I'm just going to let my needle hang and unspin itself and unspin the thread if it's got twisty bits in it. Okay, and then we're going to bring our needle down under our blanket stitch and then out the loop formed by our thread. Then we'll go along one more. Make our right angle shape. Again, we'll take it under there and then, under there and out the loop formed by our thread. Okay, and I might do one more, I think. Or I could actually do a little, maybe we can circuit around. Let me see if I can work this out. So no, then I can just go over. Won't have a guideline to follow, so we'll see how I go without the guide, unless I draw myself a little one. See if I can go straight. Okay. Try and keep on the straight and narrow. We shall see if I can manage that. Oops, didn't leave my loop there, but that's okay, easily fixed. And I probably need to keep going down, I think, a bit further before we scoot across. Out this way. Sorry, I'll try and stay on camera. Always wriggling around a bit. Should be fine now, I think, if we go across from here. Rustic is okay, isn't it? Then keep jumping across. Got a little bit of pink thread caught in it somehow from somewhere around a bit of fluff. Now I'm just going to untangle my needle, let it spin around. Oops. Oh. My needle keeps trying to escape. Or my finger keeps snaring the thread and making the needle jump. At least it hasn't stabbed me yet, so that's good. Oops, pull that a bit tight. Okay, keep going across. Is that far enough across? Yeah, that'll do. Oops. So I hope you're enjoying these stitching adventures. It is so lovely to have so many of you either stitching along or watching or commenting. Really appreciate it. It's keeping me going because I wasn't sure. I thought I might be out there in stitchery land just doing this by myself, which would have been okay, but it's obviously a lot more fun with all of you along for the journey. And I think it is going to be, yeah, really great for us all to have more stitches that we're sort of familiar and comfortable with in our repertoire. Even if we don't love all the stitches and don't put them in our favourites list, at least we're going to have some good stitches to work with. Oops. And it's just a good opportunity when you're working small scale like this on little scraps. You can just experiment a bit like I'm doing tonight, where I've just decided to go around the corner with my stitches. Again, my thread's all twisty up. Right. Let's make our little buttonhole, get rid of that bit of fluff. Now, are we going to make it around, or am I going to have to rethread for a little section? Might have done that one a bit tight, but I'm sure it will work out in the end. Whether I just try and loosen it now, maybe I'll just loosen it a little bit, so that's better. Okay. And then I think at this end, and I can probably do one more at this end. I guess when I started I just had the long one there, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it all joins up. And then whether I now thinking whether I turn the corner yet or whether I keep going. Maybe I'll do one more and then I'll turn the corner with it. Oops, through the loop. Now, if I turn the corner here, go up about there. Make my little right angle about here. Okay, and then next one across. We're definitely getting low on the thread, but we shall see if we can make it around. It's hard when you're doing all these manoeuvres if you don't have a lot of thread with you, but it really would be a shame to have to re-thread at this point. Oops. Does anyone else find they're sometimes poking their tongue out as they're stitching because they're concentrating so much? So I reckon I'm just going to jump on over here and join up our little loopery. Except I think I've just gone through my knot on the other side, which I don't want to do because sometimes that makes the thread pull. So I'm just going to move my knot out of the way. So there we go. And then at the back you would just tie it off with a bit of other stitch and just do a little loop-de-loop. So let's do that and let's take a look. So there we go. That is our Antwerp Edge stitch. I think that's kind of cool. I don't even mind my little cornering pieces. I was definitely planning just to do the top and the bottom, but I'm really happy with that. So I hope you enjoyed that as well. So I've had a request from the lovely Valerie, another one of my commenters, to talk about how I'm planning to put these little fabric scraps into my dictionary format. So I thought I might make a separate video on that. But Valerie, I just wanted to let you know that that is on its way. And I'll just talk about some different options. Again, this is a no rules stitch along, so however you want to do it. I have heard someone's, I think, just sticking them into a notebook as they go, and they're planning to have it for their children to enjoy looking at, which I thought was a lovely idea. I'm planning to do a fabric book, and I haven't actually decided yet, but now that we're possibly getting to the end of our known A letter stitches, it might be a good time to start thinking about it. So yeah, it'll be good to have a play, and I will share that with you, Valerie. And so I think next up in terms of our stitches, we will be moving on to the B stitches in the book. So in the book it is backstitch, which interestingly, when I'm looking at the stitching technique that they show, it's slightly different, I think, than how I do my own backstitch. So it's going to be interesting to follow the book exactly as instructed, because it's possible that my approach to backstitch is a bit more my own one rather than the actual prescribed backstitch approach. It certainly looks like I get the same effect that they get, but I just think they're moving their needle in a different manner. So that will be interesting. And I guess we could make we're obviously doing the writing in backstitch, but we could also do a shape in backstitch or something to keep it interesting. And then after that, it's going to be blanket stitch, which is actually just the simpler form of this one, but that's all right. And then we're going to get to do some things like blanket stitch pinwheel, blanket stitch double. So fun things ahead, but I think it's good to include the basic stitches that we know in this dictionary of stitchery, as well as some of our newer ones like this Antwerp Edge stitch with the little knots on it. Let me know if you've done this stitch before, but yeah, it's a new one for me. I've definitely done the blanket stitch component, but not with the knotting. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I will see, or I probably won't see you soon, but I will speak to you soon. Bye everyone.